Welcome to the Reckless Experience with Mark podcast with your host, Mark Vickery. This is a podcast about life, the show that brings you the know-how, the how-to, and the WTF. Each week, discussing daily life with interviews of people you really want to know. Now, here's your host, Mark Slick Vickery.
Welcome to the Reckless Experience with Mark. I'm your host, Mark Slick Vickery. This is part 5 of the Freedom Convoy 2022 WTF. This one is titled The Great Divide. As many of you obviously know by now, there are multiple protests, not just here in Canada, but all over the world. I will tell you that in my research, it appears that Donald Trump is a great supporter of this convoy and its organization. I have pros and cons when it comes to Trump and his method. And it appears over the last incident at the Capitol that his methods are not exactly for the people, more or less for his political agenda. With that being said, anyways, you're going to see the protesters had their GoFundMe page. They had it withheld again. And after meeting with police, they have come to the conclusion that they broke the rules and regulations of GoFundMe. Now, their first reaction all over their forums and Facebook pages, ban GoFundMe, ban GoFundMe. GoFundMe is going to be a dead business after this. Don't ever support them. And now they're passing all this information on to others who are banding together to ban GoFundMe. It's not GoFundMe. Don't take away a business that has helped billions. Don't do that. It's not appropriate. Your situation is a lot different. They simply had proof that what you're doing is an occupation at this point. And unfortunately, that goes against their rules and regulations. You were asked to show proof of every dime where it was going. Anyways, so you understand what I'm talking about here is not only GoFundMe, but the government and the police have done research about where this money is coming from. Yes, there is a lot of supporters. I know firsthand people personally that have given them money. Right now I'm shaking my head because giving them money, why? It's hard enough to make ends meet now. Why are you giving your money to these people? I get that they have some good causes. For everybody to give them money, for me, doesn't make sense because all you're doing is hurting other people in the process. My point here is there was a lot of anonymous donations. Okay, fair enough. Some people don't want to be patted on the back for their donations. However, all large donations that went into that GoFundMe page were anonymous. So that screams money laundering or people that they don't want know actually donated. They also stated that a majority of the money was coming from the USA. So chances are there's well-funded people that have political goals or agendas that are probably throwing money at that for their cause and probably their cause alone because they're not going to be there for the truckers when it's all over. I just thought I'd pass on that research to my listeners. It definitely seems like it's gotten out of hand. However, I will give the protesters and the organizers, I will give them props that they are trying to play good. They're trying to ease over the Ottawa population by making it more of a family event. Yes, I said family event. They brought in bouncy castles and games and carnival type events. Oh, that way people can bring their families down because now they're calling it a freedom party. Oh, okay. I'll take the day off work and I'll go have a party because it's a freedom party and I can bring the kids. Gives them something to do. Gets them out. It puts everybody in an open environment with no masks. You know, because for the people that don't believe this virus is real, you know, you may be lucky to this point and not gotten it. But as someone that's had it, I will tell you, you don't want it. If you luck out and you only get a minor symptom from it, sure, kudos to you. I wish. I still to this day have the odd issue, as I mentioned. not nearly as much as other people. So that's another story, I guess. The reason I'm calling this the Great Divide is simple. The protesters are complaining that the government is dividing us as the people. Well, let's backtrack a little. So people in the protesters, and I've seen the videos and the comment from organizers and from others, the government's dividing us. You need to pick a side. The government or freedom. Bing, 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 bing. We have a winner. Hello? What in the fuck do you think you're doing? You're dividing the people. You're doing the exact same thing the government is doing. The one thing that you're complaining about. You think because you promote for freedom that it doesn't matter if you're dividing the people? That the people that follow the government are fucking sheep or robots or zombie? What the fuck are you thinking? You are making this worse. You are making this out that all government is bad, all media is bad. You complain the media isn't covering you, but when the media does come out, your protesters attack them and throw stuff at them. You know what? The media does what they do to sell papers and advertisement. That's it. They never cover a full story, whether it's good or bad. They never have. But you want them there. You want people to see all sides. Because you know what? When I go onto YouTube or the Facebook page and I see just the Freedom Convoy stuff, just the people that are there posting videos, honestly, I never watch them all the way through because they're annoying as fuck most of the time. They're all over the place. And all you hear is the noise, blowing of horns, the hooting and hollering, or the play nice theory. I'm handing out Tim cards. Oh, here you go. Go buy yourself breakfast. $10 on us, on the protesters for your freedom. Really? You're handing out gift cards to people and trying to help residents out. And then you get upset when the residents come down and confront you about the noise. And then you come on your media selections stating that you're not making any noise. You're playing good. I'm praying at the tomb of the unknown soldier. I'm laying flowers out. I'm shoveling. You know what? I have family there. They see you doing this. Great. Good for you. Good for you that you're cleaning up and you're doing your part. But you are still illegally occupying a downtown core and its surrounding streets. Think about that. Have your freedom party. It's not something that personally I would attend because I don't want to be around people, not out of fear. It's just that most of the people that are there for the drama or they feel that their rights are stripped. Okay, so dividing the people, that's no better than the government. I know I'm going off topic here, but all these are unscripted. So whatever comes to mind, I'll talk about. I do apologize if I jump around a lot. It just makes me very angry to see them disrupting good, hardworking people for their cause, yet they try to pass it on like they're doing this for everybody. You don't speak for me. Don't tell the world you are doing something for me or anybody else. The only people you are doing this for are yourselves. That's why you are there. The people that aren't there don't want to support you. They don't want you to support them. Anyways, my point is the protesters are dividing people more than what the government ever did. And if you can't see that, then maybe you should step back from the situation and just do a little research. Overall, I understand the cause. I just don't understand. There's something deeper with this group that's organizing it. They have an ex-RCMP officer. They have some really good lawyers and accountants, from what I understand, on the payroll. They have some politicians that were politicians and no longer are, I guess. At least they're not in the government side of things. So, as I stated before, those of you that don't know, they have an agenda. They want the government gone, not just to step down and let another party jump in. They want the government gone and they want control. They want to put their politicians or their people in charge. So it takes an army to run a country. And I don't mean that in general that it needs a military. I'm saying that it takes an army of people to run a country. If you think the organizers of this protest have what it takes to run this country, and a lot of people do, a lot of people are saying that. Like, what? You have no idea. There's a reason why there's structure. If you don't have that, you have chaos. And I keep telling people that. I keep telling my listeners that. Chaos is bad. You do not want that. because the weak will not survive. And I say that in a general term, not like sick or anything like that. If you are not strong and somewhat a little evil, you are not going to be in charge and you are not going to survive. You are not going to have right. Remember, there's two sides to every story, sometimes three, and freedom fighters are not always good. Do you remember in the Middle East, a thing called the Taliban, a group? You know, they call themselves freedom fighters. They are for the freedom of the people. Freedom fighters, the Taliban. Oh my goodness. That gives me chills. As someone that's been overseas for this country, I imagine there's a few of my listeners that have been there and understand what I'm talking about. Just because they're freedom fighters, that does not mean it's good to go on the freedom side and it's a good thing. It's not. They want the government gone. And without that government, you think you have it bad during COVID or before? You're dead wrong. There's a reason why everybody wants to come to Canada. Just saying. I've been on social media a lot lately. I try not to be making posts and stuff, especially on these protest pages. I do hit notifications so I can see the updates and I can read them, but I don't like them or make posts usually. If a friend of mine that's on my Facebook makes a post and I see that, I sometimes comment. I try to be peaceful about it. There's a reason why these people are on my Facebook, because I have some kind of appreciation for them, or I know them, or they're a close friend or family member. So this morning, someone posted about being watched all the time and tracked. The word was tracked by the Trudeau government for the last couple of years. But I gotta tell you, it hasn't been just the last couple of years. Yeah, I get it. The vaccine passport is trackable. The COVID apps, they're trackable. But you have to understand, they're using technology to keep track of where this virus is spreading. Look, if you don't want to be a part of that, then get rid of all your electronic digital devices and you won't have a problem. So everything from a cell phone to a fitness watch or a fitness pedometer or a smart TV, an automobile that has, OnStar or has a Wi-Fi hotspot, these are all traceable. You have to remember, even your tablets and your PCs, you can mark on there, don't trace, don't track, or anything like that as options on certain apps, but you're always traceable. No matter where you go, there's security cameras. I have them on my house. I have them here where I work. You go to the mall, you're on cameras. You go to the businesses downtown. Hell, if you don't like cameras, you don't want to go to places like Britain. Every corner, every street sign's got a freaking camera. Look, my point here is, no matter what we do, if we have technology, you are traceable. People make it sound so bad. Oh my God, the government's following me. Because they think they're an important terrorist or something. Who the fuck cares if the government sees where you're going, or if Apple or Android see what businesses you shop at or what porn you look at? Who the fuck cares? I sure as hell don't. It's not like they're spying through their phone watching you bathe your kids or whatever fear you think is going on. It's technology. It is what it is. The main thing the government is looking for when it comes to technology tracking is terrorism. Terrorism is one of the hardest things for them to keep a track of. Technology helps that. I do know a little something about that. It is for the safety of mankind, not just our country. It is important that the government knows a little about what's going on the dark web or behind closed doors with certain activists or whatever, protests. Sometimes these protests are backed by bad politicians or bad millionaires, people that want to cause problems. So they have to be careful. You have to be careful who you support and why. You have to do your research, as I keep explaining. Like I said, I support the truckers. I support the mandates gone, the vaccine passport. I really want that stuff gone too. But I do understand why it's there. The people that are protesting, some of them, like you read some of the comments or you see their videos online and you just think, how in the fuck did you ever raise children? How did you ever have a job like driving a truck or becoming a lawyer, or do you know what I mean? Like you just shake your head and go, what the fuck? It just blows me away that some people can actually survive in this day and age as an adult with the things they do and say. It just doesn't make sense to me. They try to play good at any protest. I'm building a shelter so we can stay warm because we're here for the long haul. Okay, sure. It's not okay to build anything on a city street or a city park. You need permits for safety, right? And hell, if you're going to build something down there at Confederation Park or Toronto or wherever you are, build something for the fucking homeless. You selfish pieces of shit. Build something for them. Yeah, maybe you're feeding them with your free food and stuff. Perfect. But you're no different than the government bribing people to get vaccines. You're bribing people with free food and play party. You're doing the same thing. You have to look at it like that. You are manipulating people to support your cause. The government does the same thing. How do you think they get voted in? They manipulate people to support their cause. Whew. I'm sweating. I'm getting so worked up here. It just blows me away. The whole technology thing, you know what? Once in a while, I just need a break. And I know other people that do this. I literally will just turn my phone off so it doesn't produce any signals. I don't watch TV. I shut the computer down. I shut my 3D printers down if they're connected to the web. And I just go outside. I kayak or paddleboard or go for a walk or a hike. I get outdoors without technology. There's lots of ways to get away from the tracking, as some people put it. It doesn't matter what country you are in the world. If you're a moderately wealthy country that does have technology and a government, you will have that. I will remind people that the Taliban is also calling themselves freedom fighters, freedom for the people. So you have to think about that. Just because they use the term freedom and freedom for the people does not mean it's a good thing. Okay? Soon they're going to be running around with guns and keeping their own law. If there was no government, how do you think they would stop people? They sure as fuck wouldn't have a legal force. They're going to have, I call it the Walking Dead syndrome, right? The strong shall survive. When it comes to dividing people, everybody has an agenda, whether it's good, whether it's bad. Everybody has an agenda that they want followers. Just look at me. I have a podcast. I have an agenda and I want followers. It's simple. I advertise. I talk about topics that people want to hear. Maybe people don't all want to hear about reality, but some do. So when you have a cause that you're fighting for, you have to be careful not to make the same mistakes that the people you are opposing are also doing. So when the government makes that mistake, and the Trudeau government is bad. I watched a House session the other day, and Conservatives' temporary new leader was introduced. Trudeau wasn't there physically, he was there virtually, but I call her the assistant premier, his shadow. I honestly, she has good credentials and stuff, but she's an absolute idiot. She beats around the bush. The new Conservative leader asked her 3 questions, and the answer to those 3 questions were the exact same. She reminded everybody of the black politician that made a statement that he felt he didn't belong because of the way people were being treated and such. It's a long story with that, but she just kept going on about the racism and the Nazi flags and the rebel flags, Terry Fox and the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. She kept repeating that same crap over and again. Okay, we get it. The protesters did this. The protesters are protesters. It doesn't matter whether they're good protesters, bad protesters, actually there for the Freedom Convoy or not. They were at the event. They are part of it, period, until proven otherwise. It just shows you the Liberal government, they don't know what to do. People are standing up for somewhat good causes, but they're going about it the wrong way because now they're creating division. I personally don't want to be divided people. In order for Canadians to get a better government, you are going to need to vote. You are going to need to research. I've mentioned this every episode. I'm telling you, it's coming up. Opportunity to vote coming up this year. So we need to get his ass out of there and his party. I don't care what group they are, whether they're NDP, PP, Conservative, Liberal. There's good people in all of them. Good people like you and I. We need to be selective. That's why they have seats. So some people will get voted from Liberal. Some people will get voted from Conservative or NDP. Remember, Liberals don't have the majority right now. So that's good for the freedom portion of it. But you have to understand, unless you vote, you can't make a difference, and you can't stomp your feet and scream about how bad the government is, because you're the reason they're there, whether you voted or not. I love how if those protests had have been all indigenous or all black, you know what I mean? Like, the cops would have dragged them out of there. What the fuck is with that bullshit? It's bullshit. They need to go in there, remove those trucks. Now they're putting barriers, cement barriers in Ottawa, so the trucks can't move. Because a lot of people don't know this. At night, they shuffle vehicles around. They've been doing that, trying to squeeze in more trucks and blocking off stuff. The more trucks they have. They've even taken the tires off vehicles and put them up on blocks so they can't just be easily removed. What the fuck, people? So they put these barriers up, and they're making little selfie videos, the protesters, saying that the police are treating us like Jews from the Nazi camps. They're locking us in and caging us like animals. Now we can't move or leave. Oh my God. I almost fell out of the computer chair when I saw that video this morning. You're blocked in like Jews. What? That makes, honestly, I honestly don't know what people think when they don't have a brain-mouth filter. They just say whatever they think before they even really think about what they're saying. The police are preventing the big transport trucks and the bigger trucks and the farm tractors from having too much movement because of the amount of people that are protesting and walking around. It is extremely dangerous because many people have no common sense whatsoever when a big piece of equipment is moving to get the fuck out of the way. Look at that big crane they had there. The protesters brought it up and they had it up. People were climbing on the crane. They were walking underneath where the hook was holding the flag. Okay, there's some union workers down there that are in the protest. You guys and girls know the safety. You know the issues there and how easy somebody can get hurt. Come on. Use your head. You got people climbing up on a logging truck on the snow and ice covered logs. Wow. I tell you, someone's going to fall, break their fucking neck, and their family's going to sue somebody. Just so you know, I read an article that Ottawa police sent all commercial vehicle license and registration information from everybody that's up there. And that's what they're doing in all the cities, sending it to insurance companies. Because I'm not sure if you know this, but your commercial vehicle is actually not allowed to be involved in protests. Believe it or not, it's actually a law. You are not allowed to use a company vehicle without written consent from your employer. And if you own the vehicle, the insurance doesn't allow you to use it. If you are allowing people to climb all over your load or up your crane boom that you have on your truck, you are breaking the law. You are putting people's safety in jeopardy. So you have to take that into consideration, that these people, a majority of them haven't got a lick of common sense. The one guy, you'll see him continually post videos, or someone's posting videos on his behalf. He's rocking the truck back and forth. Well, first of all, it ain't good for the truck to do it that often, as much as he's doing it. He's got people hanging all over it, and they're riding a bull. Okay, it may be fun, but it ain't safe, and the person that owns that rig is liable. So they're doing a lot of unsafe things. I'm still upset that the Ottawa police are allowing to have all that fuel and propane and gas and stuff kept there. That's an accident waiting to happen. It only takes one bad apple who's there to cause destruction with a fireworks or a cigarette or something lit. Do you know what I mean? Like, whether they have people guarding it or whatever, they say that it's not appropriate. You have to have a permit to keep that stuff. You have to have a permit for pretty much everything they're doing down there. So where's all the restaurant inspections? What about all those booths that are serving food? The guys with the pizza oven? Seriously. You just see the clown smoking a cigarette. He'd take the cigarette, put it in his mouth, and he'd handle with bare hands. He'd handle the pizza and put it on the little racks. Really? And he's a scruffy motherfucker, hair all over. We have rules. We have safety guidelines. I sure as fuck wouldn't be eating anything from that booth. And yeah, that's me being an anal douche. It's called common sense. The guy or girl cooking my food's fucking taking a cigarette out of their mouth fucking every 2 seconds and fucking talking and yelling and hooting and hollering over my food. I think I would be going somewhere else. It just kills me to watch some of these videos because they think they're doing good, but this isn't. It makes me angry. So now they're in Quebec City and they're at this, they have the winter festival thing going on there. Quebec Police, or the QPP, similar to the Ontario Provincial Police, the OPP. I used to go to Montreal very regularly, and I'll tell you, they have a zero tolerance. They're not quite like the rest of the police in Canada. They've had to deal with riots a lot more. They're not exactly patient as far as police forces go. I find that they're more aggressors there. They will get the job done, whether there's backlash or not. So they've had to deal with a lot of that dramatic protesting and stuff, hence the reason why they've put in extra protocols to stop with the unvaccinated. They try to put restrictions in. I mean, some of it goes a little far, but people have to remember, like, you keep hearing these protesters say, you know, we're killing our children are not guinea pigs, our freedom is being stripped away, it's against the Charter of Rights. But do your own research. Look up the Charter of Rights. Look up the Welfare Act or the Emergency Act. When these things are engaged, they give the government, remember, it's safety and health for the whole, not for the minority. So you have to understand that. They need to do what they need to do. Some of them, they're pushing the limits. I get it. But like I said, it sucks having to wear a mask, but it's not the end of the world. It kills me that they're like, oh, you're killing my kids, forcing them to wear a muzzle. That fucking kid of yours would probably wear a mask if it was a superhero mask 24/7 if you let them. Give me a break. It's not the end of the world. They're telling people, oh, we have to pick up masks constantly downtown. We're constantly picking up masks off the ground because they're careless and throwing them around. People that wear masks are careless and they're causing garbage and pollution. I had to watch that video clip over and over again. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I'm like, really? When people come down there, you encourage them to take their masks off. So they take their mask off out of peer pressure and because they don't want to wear it anymore. And they throw it on the ground because they're like defiant. Where do you think the people that wear the masks are taking them off and just, you know, throwing them at your feet or throwing them out down there to make it look like you guys are bad? Really? Again, division. You're separating good people from bad people, blah, blah, blah. You're picking up the mask because the people that are down there are being delinquent and they're saying, fuck you, I'm not wearing a mask anymore, and they throw them away. Well, that is what it is. It's your choice. Like I said, I work in the travel industry at this point, so I still wear a mask, and I probably will for a while because people don't know enough to stay home when they're sick. That's right. Some people can't because their jobs don't pay them to be off sick, and they have families to feed. So there's got to be an alternative to that because not all employers are legally mandated to actually pay sick days. I do believe there is a government Canada-wide sick day thing, but I don't think they actually have to pay for it. They actually have to apply sick benefits through unemployment to get that. So even that, I mean, you got to pay bills now. You can't wait. But I'm sure with COVID, depending on what it is, you could probably get it faster. I don't know off the top of my head, but I will look into that. So like I said, the Great Divide, Freedom Convoy is dividing people in greater and greater numbers every day. Every weekend comes around and you get more people that are getting involved in these protests. You're dividing people. Now they have counter protests. Yes, counter protests. So Vancouver got the truckers and Convoy with the farm tractors and stuff got stopped on the highway with good people that are trying to stop the protests in their communities. So you know where this goes, right? This goes to violence because people are not going to take it. Remember, when it comes to police blockading, protesters tend to avoid confrontation as much as possible because they can end up in jail. when it comes to normal everyday citizens protesting normal everyday citizens, there's a lot more chance of violence. And that's what's happening. Residents are standing up. In Toronto, you have nurses and medical staff anti-protesting the protesters. So really, I mean, you have to understand that just because it's a freedom rally doesn't mean it's for freedom. They have agendas, and they're taking advantage of all the good people that are trying to support them. We want all the mandates dropped. I agree. I want the cross-border one dropped. I want to be able to go to a restaurant without showing the QR code. I want to be able to not have to wear a mask. But it's my choice. I still have the freedom. I have the choice. I can go to get takeout. I don't have to sit down in the restaurant. I'd sooner sit at home where I'm comfortable or out at the park, wherever. I have no problem going in and get takeout without a mask. They allow you. And I don't have to wear a mask outdoors. I don't have to wear a mask anywhere. I can go into a business. A lot of people have that choice. But private businesses have chosen the good over the bad, and they have chosen to enforce that mandate with the mask. Some of them, yeah, obviously they'll get fined if they get caught, but they're at least giving people choices. This whole division amongst our population, it's never going to end well. And this one won't. This event is going to end in violence. And I'm not trying to encourage that. I'm anti-violence. I don't believe I was that guy growing up that I would swing first. That's why I stopped drinking. Felt like I was getting into fights all the time because I never tolerated anything. But the kind of people that are protesting, the hardcore protesters, they're like that. They're not afraid to put the dukes up and attack each other and cause destruction. They're playing nice because the world's eyes are on them. But I will tell you, whether the police try to physically remove them or not, this will end in some kind of violence. They always do when they get to occupation levels. The police are just doing their job. They're handling everything with kids' gloves right now. But there's a lot of the protesters are anti-police. They're anti-government in one way or another. People that are anti-government and anti-police, maybe some of them have had bad experiences with the police or the government. I understand that. There is good cops, bad cops, good politicians, bad politicians. So yeah, I understand that. But to encourage people for your freedom convoy and your protests that the government is bad all around and the media is bad all around, that the police are all bad. Okay, what you're doing is creating division. You have an RCMP officer who, from my understanding, was actually, he's been there for 15 years. So he has a bit of knowledge and experience, of course. He's definitely not a public speaker. He wasn't very good. He was reading from his notes. It sounded like he didn't believe what he was saying, but at the same time, maybe he does, but the way he was reading it, you could tell someone else wrote it. You can always tell that when a politician reads something else because they fumble what they're saying and they kind of say it like they don't understand what they're saying. Some of you will understand what I'm talking about and some of you won't. I'm not trying to be negative on that. I'm just saying that it happens with everybody giving speeches, right? You know, reading scripts or whatever. You'll read a line and you'll be like, what the fuck? I didn't say that. So yeah, you get what I'm saying. So he knows the counter reactions to the protests by the police. He knows their direct intentions because it's protocol. So he's aware of that. So you know he's informed his new employer and fellow protesters of the organization that this is what the police are going to do. This is what we need to do. You can imagine where that puts the police, right? One of their own. I know a few officers that chose not to get the vaccine here in Canada, and they are required to get testing every shift, which is fine by them. They are okay with that. They get tested. If they test positive, they go home for 5 days and then they come back when they're done. It's okay for them. And lots of businesses and government agencies and stuff have offered that. Fine and dandy. But you got to remember, they work with the public, doctors and nurses and healthcare. They work with the sick. It's important that you protect the public. You protect the sick. You know, this isn't new for the healthcare system to be vaccinated. Always been a thing with healthcare that you get vaccinated. So they've always been required to get shots and stuff to work in those environments. Like, I guarantee half the people protesting have grown up with vaccines. And they keep coming out with the whole, oh, I'm not a guinea pig. Nobody's a guinea pig. It doesn't matter what it is. Vaccines take years, like I said, to become permanent fix for many things. And many diseases mankind have not been able to solve. They've been able to prolong them, like the fate of them. And yeah, I'm sure Big Pharma has a lot to do with some of the stuff, but not all of it. You know, good old healthy eating and taking care of yourself makes a big difference. Anyways, I'm going on. Like I said, it baffles me that the amount of division these protesters are creating amongst themselves and other Canadians. But their main complaint is the government is dividing people and creating hate towards the unvaccinated or the vaccinated. Well, now the protesters are creating that hate and distance between vaccinated and unvaccinated, people that want to follow the rules, people that don't want to follow the rules. I hate to say it, if you don't want to follow the rules, fuck off. There's the door. You can do life without following 100% of the rules, but you can't do life safely, freedom-wise, without a government and some kind of control system. It just doesn't work. You know, something that really pisses me off and it rattles my brain is people that have been in the military. Okay, we see the inside a little bit more. We understand it's not a perfect organization. We understand that. But if your response to that is to protest or to bash the organization of the military or the government after you've put in time there, you are in the wrong. You were involved. You had the opportunity to make a difference. And I know this seems direct, that I'm possibly dividing you from that, but I'm not. I've been there too. I understand. We're all humans here. Our goal is to survive and enjoy our lives. No one is stopping you from enjoying your life. I have friends that literally left yesterday morning for Mexico. They went on a vacation. Well, nothing's stopping you. You're free to do what the fuck you want. You have to prepare yourself to do so. It all comes back to the decisions we make as responsible adults. If we choose to make bad decisions, we're always going to be that Canadian that is against all the rules. Anti this, anti that. I believe once you get to the point where you're physically going to a city center and you're protesting something, you've stepped over that line to the anger side. And you have the right to be angry. I get it. But I think once you've gone to that side where you're disrupting fellow Canadians, I think you've taken that to a level that's not appropriate. And I hope you know where I'm going with this, and that you understand, listeners, that protesting is a good thing. We have a right to do so. But there's limitations to those protests. Okay? You're walking around with signs that say, fuck Trudeau, fuck the media, fuck this, and the media is liars, and the government are liars. The virus is fake. Like, I've seen all these signs on YouTube videos from people that are there. Okay. So think about it. I get it. Trudeau needs to go. I'm in agreement. But all these vehicles that have, fuck Trudeau on them and stuff, really? I personally wouldn't spend a dime to support or go against that fucking idiot. Why? I see all the farmers and stuff running their tractors now in the convoys. Right now in most of Canada, it's winter. So a lot of those farmers and their equipment are not being used. So they have time to do so. I'll tell you, all these trucks, it's only a percentage of Canada's population of truckers and transporters. So it isn't exactly affecting any kind of shipments and such. But look at it this way. If they start and continue to block borders and block infrastructure, it will start affecting daily goods. This is what they want. They want disruption. They've stated it time and time again, the organizers. Disrupt and chaos. Shut down Ottawa, they said. Shut down Toronto. Okay. So anybody with a clear common sense, any kind of brain, mature adult knows this. Why would you support that? Why would you support the fact that in about a month from now, you're not going to be able to get fuel for less than $2 a liter, and you're not going to be able to get $200 worth of groceries to last you 2 weeks? Because it's going to cost you that to eat in less than a week. Because what they're doing is causing inflation. The government likes that. Inflation is good for them. Finance-wise, they want that money. So why not let the protesters cause the inflations? Think about that. Two sides for their own agendas. You are harming yourself and your family by causing the disruptions. Protest in a safe, mature manner where you're not causing disruptions and not annoying the fuck out of your friendly Canadian families here. I watched a video of a young guy and he went down to talk to the protesters and he basically lost his shit. He lost his shit and they're not showing it. The media is showing it, but I noticed a lot of the YouTubers and stuff, they're not showing it because it doesn't look good on the protesters, right? So why should they show something that doesn't look good on themselves? Makes sense. But he literally was like, I haven't slept in 5 days and I'm losing my fucking mind. Like he just went off. And honestly, I'm that guy. I would have lost my fucking shit if I had to hear those trucks running outside my window all this time. Completely. And then you get some other clown that comes on and says, oh, I have a big rig parked right outside my bedroom window. And honestly, you know what? I used to work for the media and I have no problem with it. They're good. They're quiet at night and all this good stuff. And of course, they share that post and they promote him and thank him for being such a good author of his writing that he wrote his big post. Really, buddy? So what? Because he says it's all good and he lives there? He probably doesn't even live there. He's probably not even in Canada for all you know. Like, give me a break, people. We all see the videos. We hear it. We see the videos. There's videos at nighttime. From last night, there is fresh videos on YouTube. Go check it out. Check them out. And there's a lot of nighttime videos, even from last night. I watched a few this morning, and the one, it's timestamped 1:20 a.m. Ontario time, and they're blowing their horns, and the one guy's rocking his truck. You can't hide that. You can't hide it. You are being disruptive at nighttime, and you have to take that into consideration. There's young families down there. They're trying to sleep. They're trying to work from home. You've forced them not to be able to leave. You've taken their right to live life comfortably. That's division. You can't take away the rights of fellow Canadians because you have a cause. Remember, the population that is doing the protesting is still a minority amount. However, there's more and more followers because people get on social media, they read a headline, they read one post and go, oh, that's it. I hate my fucking government. That's bullshit. They can't do that. Blah, 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 blah. They believe the first thing they fucking read. Oh my God, people. Don't let social media run your life. Put your phone down. Shut it off. Spend time with your family. Netflix and chill. Do something other than watching social media. They're manipulating you, just like the Trudeau government manipulates people. Okay? Don't allow this to happen. Don't allow the words freedom to cloud your judgment. Remember, like I said, the Taliban is also considered freedom fighters for the people. Anyways, I'm going to put an end to this episode, a little longer than normal. I'm Mark from the Reckless Experience with Mark. Tune in, well, most likely tomorrow for more updates. We'll see. I might wait till Monday, so we'll see how that goes. Everyone, thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. You don't have to pay to listen for my podcast. Just click the window and close it. Although I do appreciate any of the support people have been giving me. It really helps pay for my equipment and my editing and such. Thank you again so much for helping me on this journey. Again, Mark from the Reckless Experience with Mark. Be safe, be kind, and as always, don't be a twat.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Reckless Experience with Mark. Be sure to visit our website at www.recklessexperience.com, where you can subscribe so you'll never miss a show. Make sure to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. And be sure to tune in next week for our next episode, the know-how, the how-to, and the WTF.